Welcome back. You know, I've received a lot of questions about how I sort and point bullets. So let's go over that really quickly. I'm not going to go over the pointing process by showing bullets going into and out of the press. It just doesn't make any sense. I've showed that before, and there's not a whole lot to learn from seeing a press go up and down. So we'll skip that part today. Let's start with sorting. Right now I am set up to do bearing surface length sorting on these bullets. The first thing I have to say is this is not the actual bearing surface length of the bullet. So I'm just checking to see how long the bullet is from the ogive to something on the base that I find is a good measuring point. And I like to measure approximately the same diameter on the boat tail as I do on the ogive. That is not required. What we are actually trying to do is just find some place to measure from. This is where I choose to. You can do base to ogive if you want. Let's turn on my little magic box here, and it is zeroed. It is zeroed on a bullet, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Let me grab another bullet. I'm going to take this one out. I'm trying to do this around the tripod without shaking it. You'll have to excuse me if I create some vibration here. I'm going to put that bullet aside. That's my zero bullet. I now measure the next bullet and find that it is half a thousandths longer. So this bullet goes in my zero container. Now, I use that zero bullet every 5 to 10 bullets just to make sure that nothing's moved. This is an inexpensive digital caliper, and as such it moves around a little bit. If I ever get something that looks a little suspicious as a reading, I just go back to my standard bullet and try it again. Uh-oh, we're out of calibration. And it went into millimeters. Like I said, this guy's a little funky at times, so we'll just zero it again. Nope, it's just not going to work today. Looks like I need to buy myself a new digital caliper. Okay, rattle its brain a little bit, make sure it's not going to shut off on me. Looks like it's solid. Read zero again. All right. Well, it's good enough for what I'm doing today, so we'll continue. I'm just sorting enough bullets to do a test, and then I can validate them another way if I want to. So that bullet was actually a zero. That's the first step. Let me actually grab one bullet out of here. And this is a different bullet than I just put in it. I actually dropped one in and pulled a different one out. That one reads different now. So my caliper is not really all that good, and the readings I'm getting are invalid. Yeah, now my standard is half a thousandths bigger. So, you know, this little piece of equipment is inexpensive, and it just doesn't work very well. I'll have to get one off of Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description so you can buy one as well. A good quality digital caliper is really something you need to be able to do good work in the reloading room. But since we have a caliper and we have the tools, let's just do it. The next step, we're going to take our sample bullet over here, and the next step is to measure the overall length of the bullet. So let me zero this guy out, and we'll measure the overall length of the bullet. These are 180 grain hybrids, and I sort them by overall length. Now, I know you can't see this very well. I don't have good magnification with this camera, but the met plats on these are just about dead flat on the end. They're as close to perfect as I can get. So I sort them into groups that are 3 thousandths wide. So if I say those are 17 to 20, and these are 21, 22, and 23, well, that doesn't work, does it? Those are 17, 18, and 19. These are 20, 21, and 22. That one's a 25, 26. So we sort them out this way. The reason that we sort them is pretty simple. I'm going to use my fingers to demonstrate. If I am pushing the bullet into a pointing die by the base, the length that the pointing die sees when it tapers the end of the bullet is the length between those 2 points. So if you have a longer bullet, it's going to go further into the tapered section as it points the bullet, and it's going to point it more. It's also going to put more stress on the jacket, so you risk moving the jacket down here and creating a bulge when you're pointing. To prevent that, I sort into small increment groups, about 3 thousandths worth, and then point them in groups. Now after they're pointed, you can just mix them up again. It doesn't matter, because they really are all equivalents if the met plats are all the same diameter. Or at least they're so close that I can't tell the difference on target. Alright guys, I hope this was helpful to you. Oh yes, that's correct. Somebody asked about trimming bullets. No, I don't trim them unless they need it. This batch of bullets, I just opened this box. This lot of bullets is relatively recent, and the met plats are just about dead flat on the end. So there's no reason to trim these bullets. And that saves me a bunch of work. So I won't be trimming them. I'm just going to sort these that I already have sorted by bearing surface length, as I call it. And I'm going to sort them by overall length, point them, and then we're done. As far as pointing is concerned, we've talked about this before. Let me take a moment and grab a bullet. Now this is a different lot of bullets, guys, so you'll have to forgive me. Here is a pointed bullet. This is pointed with a wooden die. Let me put the unpointed bullet next to it, my standard bullet. And you can see the difference in the met plats, and I'll get as close as I can. Hopefully the camera will focus on them. And you can see the taper right here that the die created on that lower bullet. All we're doing is we're setting it to get the diameter that we want here. Let me show you how I measure that. Let me take this out. Well, actually, let me do it with the caliper set up here. I'm going to scoot the caliper over so that you have a little better view. The way I do it is I set my desired met plat diameter on my caliper. Right there. Let's say it's 56.5. That's just a random number that I came up with. I then take the bullet and compare it, and I can do it in front of a light source so I can see better. Is the bullet tip smaller than that hole? The other way you can do it, and I'm going to do it on the face side instead of the back side, is you can actually take the bullet right here. It goes between the jaws because, as you can see, as I try to move it back and forth, it sticks. It's not wanting to skid. So that's a rough way of getting a general estimate as to the met plat diameter. Let's reduce it a little bit. Let's make it 54. It still hooks. You can actually hear it fall in as I come down. Let's get it too small. Let's say, I'm pretty sure I can't get a bullet diameter that small, so it just slightly hangs, but it doesn't want to stick. It wants to come out. That tells me that the met plat is larger than 46 thousandths, and when I hold it up this way in front of a light source, I can see that the tips of the jaws are actually smaller than this, especially if I do it under a magnifying glass. Now I can't get a magnifying glass between the caliper and the camera and get an image that's worth having, so we'll skip that today. But guys, I hope this was helpful to you. As always, load safely, and I'll see you on the range.